See, so here's another example. Black woke sports. I don't know where all these left-wing black guys meet, but they must have meetings or Zoom meetings or memos. They're all on the exact same page. This is another black pundit, ESPN, Stephen A. Hole Smith.
The MVP of this game was Todd Bowles.
Yeah,
the
no question.
Coordinator
No question.
for the Tampa Bay. He was the MVP of the game, and I think the only reason why the defense itself didn't get the MVP award is because there were so many dudes that was so great on the defensive side of the ball that you couldn't have just one definitive person to give it out. Otherwise, they'd have got the MVP over Tom Brady. But in the end, that's what...
There it is. See? Dudes. These was dudes. The MVP, Todd Bowles. This was a coach that everyone in New York knew was as useless as tits on a bull. Flat out. He couldn't buy a win. But because Tom Brady beat down their boy, Patrick Mahomes, they can't stand it. So they have to come up. This is 7 Super Bowl rings later. 10 visits, 7 wins. 10 Super Bowls, 7 victories. And every year they do the same thing. It must be someone else that's responsible, because that white boy can't keep beating our ass. They can't. They can't believe it. And every year it gets funnier. You know, at some point you got to be humble, but they're not. At some point you have to be reasonable, but they're not, and they can't, because they're black racists, and ESPN and their non-Christian bosses like Max Kellerman. Now, where do you think Max Kellerman played football? Where do you think? Because I didn't see football teams at any Hebrew school in America, but they know everything. You know, if you've never got jock itch, a kick in the you-know-where, stepped on, speared, cleated, tackled, mauled, elbowed. If you never experienced that, I don't want to hear you talk about football. That's to all you women out there too. I really don't want to hear you talk about football. Now, I don't mind some pundits and announcers calling games. They used to be really good at it, not anymore. Now everybody's an expert, but they never played. This little creep, if you hit him, he'd melt. He's the kind of guy that went whining home with that sick look on his face, holding his stomach when he got wrapped. And Max Kellerman you couldn't even imagine that, because that guy wasn't showing up. He was probably a champion at stoop ball. All right? And I listened to this crap with their social engineering. And what's the bottom line? They're jealous. They hate guys that are real alpha men. They hate them. And Stephen A. tries to make believe he's in their slipstream. Well, you ain't no LeVar Arrington, pal. That's a man. Okay? You just ain't. I listened to him talk about the game the other day, LeVar Arrington. He is as articulate as he is honest. But not this little punk, because he never got his bell rung. And that's where this all begins and ends. It starts in the playground. Okay? And dudes like this, he's really more of a dudette. But don't he talk good? With his hyperbolic nonsense. Still can't conjugate a verb, and doesn't know a plural from a kick in the ass. But we got to suffer this indignity, this rap talk, because it's the new cause célèbre, the new cause that started about 35, 40 years ago. We got to suffer this inanity, this intellectual pollution, in lieu of media mass-marketed BS. And they don't look up at their ratings and see them cratering because the racists of BLM, especially in the NBA and the NFL, have hung themselves. Live it up, boys, because your days of yore are coming to an end. It's all over. These leagues are going to collapse in the most dramatic way you've ever seen. Hollywood right behind them. Utterly collapsed. The media networks collapsing right before your eyes. They can't get ratings. They can't get advertisement money. They're done. And they don't stop pumping this pollutive bilge at their constituents and customers. And they don't get it. And this ugly Max Kellerman with the unshaved face. I mean, where do you come up with? What do they do? What do they go dredging into the ocean to find the most obnoxious losers in the world, to put them on TV to assault every sensibility of society? It's really unbelievable. So anyway, live it up, boys, because it's all coming to a swift end. That's all. Diddy, folks.